What's up, guys? Daemonxel back again with another Eve Frontier video. We just had the Visions stream today, where we basically spent an hour and a half talking about what the plans are moving forward for the game, what we've been doing now. Basically, I guess, the timeline of how they expect the game to be played. Not a roadmap per se, but we do get to see elements of what is planned, what will be coming to the game. Basically making that trailer that we've seen that's had a lot of recognition, that's basically said, the game doesn't play like this at all. Will kind of shed some light on that whole thing. So let's talk about it. All right, so we are talking about the Visions, I guess, trailer, roadmap. Well, not really roadmap, but basically the timeline of the gameplay and basically what happened during that stream. We're going to condense that hour and a half stream down to however long this video is. I usually say about 15 minutes, but it could go to 20 minutes. We don't know. But let's find out. I'll try to be brief in going over everything. But first, like always, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, you can go ahead and give a thumbs up, subscribe, stuff like that. But if you want to become a founder and play through these cycles until the game launches and have some fun, go ahead and use my code. It's down in the description below. You can follow that link or just manually input that code, become a founder, and you can play through all these cycles and see the changes the game makes along the way. So let's jump right into what was going on there. So the stream started off with CCP, Maximum Cats, and of course Jotun, talking about what's going on with the game, the concept of the game, and how it ties into everything. I mean, they start off using this quote that someone has basically talked about the game, saying that, it's a pretty cool game, just very different from the games made in the past to entertain you. This game is made to hurt you, but that's why if you achieve something, it feels so great. And that's where they're taking that survival concept, right? They say taking shape, survival content. They have no idea what's going on, but it's very interesting. And they say that, it is fair brutality. That, they expect you will rage with this game. And they say it's an epic space post-apocalyptic journey of immersion. So, in a nutshell, right? If we're talking lore-wise and game-wise, then we have to go to the outline, which he provided. So, basically, this whole universe is the frontier, right? The trinary, which is the 3 black holes. And the desolate region is haunted by feral AI drones. Now, these are left over from a, I guess, alien or humanity, an ancient civilization that died out thousands of years ago, right? It says, humanity has been extinct for many thousands of years. They say viable clones are activated by a mysterious entity, the Keep, in places strategic for awakening mission and equipped with instances of Keep Emergency Stack, a set of industrial capabilities meant to serve as extreme interstellar survival kit. Basically like starting off like any other survival MMO out there. It says, this is how every rider begins their journey on the frontier. Their challenge isn't only the pharaohs, but also the cyclical storms wiping the region. So, what does that mean? Well, we've basically been playing a bare bones version of this vision, right? When you start off, we're all starting in a starter system in a Wend. It could change down the line of whatever ship it may be. And, if you don't have carb, you don't have the necessary tools to survive, well, you got to basically self-destruct and biomass. And it'll put you into another area of space and via another clone. There's a bunch of screenshots I grabbed and the screen caps that are out there, and so I'm going to be jumping around too. But this is basically the vision, right? This is the path of the game. It starts with Awake, then he goes into Bushcraft, Refuge, Save, Ship, Escape, Home Ruins, Clone, Lost Cities, Tribe, Artifacts, and then Awakening. Now, each of those have different meanings as well. So basically, Awake is you starting the game, awaking in this clone, in the starter system, and only have the bare bones of stuff to survive. Bushcraft is that survival, right? What can I use? What can I use in this environment around me to ensure my survival so I can continue on? Refuge is basically seeking shelter, right? Okay, I need to make a hut, right? Somewhere to live, somewhere to keep me safe out here while I'm trying to survive. It says save, which is seek persistence. So basically, that can be attributed to basically setting up your network node, right? Or getting to a keep, right? Once you get to a keep or a network node, well, then you can save your location, right? Your home base to whatever that is, which means that when you die now, you'll always be popping up in the same spot. It won't be some random spot in the universe. Ship is says seek steed. So basically, you need to make a ship so you can progress and get out of the systems. Escape, seek freedom, right? You want to get out of the zone that you're in to go further out into space. Home ruins is basically seek answers. Clone, that's where you are setting up your clone. We're going to get into all those down the line. But let's talk about that first section there, up to escape, right? Now, this is what they call the, I think I have it here, a survival puzzle loop. So basically, in the beginning, right, you are in a starting zone, right? You spawn in a randomized clone. Your mind is in a clone. Each clone is different, right? And then you got to search the area. If you don't have what you need, well, then you die and then you spawn back into another randomized clone. But once you do the bushcraft, right, when you start, if I have all the building blocks, what I need to survive here, well, then you gain persistence. You attain mind storage. And that means the mind that you have, you can put into either a network node or you can put it into a keep so that you can keep, when you die, spawning back in a same location. And then that's how you move through the rest of the game, which is the sandbox, right? The stacks optimization. Now, we're going to see this a lot where they're talking about stacks. Well, stacks is something that we just learned about today. That's one of the new things they're bringing in. We go to that slide. Right, here it is here. It's called a hyperfold stack. And it says here, stack of industrial schemata, biomimetic operating regime. It says development and maintenance of stacks inventory is a perpetual recommended goal. All right, I know that's a lot to take in. Let me break it down for you. All right, so stacks. First of all, these are going to be faction-based, right? Whether it be OSA, whether it be Cicada. Basically, it's going to be faction-based. And basically, it is a collection of blueprints, which you will need to find. And then that's going to give you what you're going to need to survive, right? You're going to be able to use this for your printer. This is how you're going to get your blueprints. So all those blueprints that are in the printers now that we are using aren't going to be there. You're going to need to find these so that you get the blueprints to build what you need to survive. Now, it says they were also lost plans in these stacks, and some of them will operate under a AI and work as an organism, right? These will need to be maintained or they can turn feral, right? We have the feral AI, right? That's what's taking over the drones. That's what's attacking us. Now, this is my speculation. They talked on a previous stream about the feral virus. Maybe this is going to play into that. You know, maybe some of those are corrupted with that feral virus. They did say that, think about this like Farmville or a planting system in any other MMO. I'm having flashbacks to Final Fantasy 14. And hell, even not Final Fantasy 14, but Final Fantasy, I think it's 11. Back where you used to have pots in your home and you'd have to water them every day. But basically, it's the same thing. You're going to need to maintain it, feed it, do whatever you need to nurture this stack so that it will keep continuing to grow. Now, they say that this will also be on a tribe level as well down the road. So, yes, there'll be certain stacks for you personally for schematics and also, well, for the tribe. Now, they did also briefly show us a slide. They didn't talk about it, but I'm going to pull that slide up, and it's called Orbs. Here's the orb itself. It says Hyperfold Orb. An orb is a exotronic construct utilizing primarily in, of course, they blacked it out, of living and quasi-living entities. Its operation mechanics are poorly understood but widely utilized. Now, We're going to talk about this when we get to the clone section, right? They are saying, and this is some of the other information they gave us, that with clones, you'll be able to modify clones, implants, skills, that sort of thing. Now, my theory is, and hopefully we can prove this down the line, is that the stacks will give you blueprints for printing out, and orbs will help you basically modify your clone. These orbs will maybe give you implants or modifications to your clone, or maybe skills. I think that's where they're going for, where you have the two separate things. Now, I could be 100% off base because they did not talk about this, but that is my current working theory on this. Here are some of the slides as they walk through each one. They're like the awakening, where we're all waking up. This is the bushcraft, where we're trying to find everything that we need. Basically, okay, I need to mine carbon, so I need to get lasers. I need to mine this out. I need to build a refuge. All this stuff is basically what we've been playing up to this point. So we've talked about the bushcraft, which is building things. We've talked about the refuge, place to live, shape. That's basically what we have in the game now. The save, which is basically the network node or a keep. Next would be ship, a ship that you're going to need to travel out. Now, of course, there's going to be variation. It's not going to be like the watered down tutorial we have now, right? When do all this stuff till you get a reflex and use the reflex to jump out. They want it more in depth. They want that cycle. So, well, you're going to need to build a couple ships here, one for mining, one for fighting, maybe one for cargo. That's where they're going for this before you can move out into the open world of the MMO. And of course, the ship they use is the Reaver, or if you played previous cycles, the Jove. And then finally, after all that, the escape, we can get out of that system. Like I said, it's what we're doing now, right? You do the tutorial, you get your reflex, and you bounce out, right? And then you start the game, basically. Find a tribe or go off on your own, explore, do what you want, build, make your base. That all starts at that. So half of this right here is basically the tutorial of the game that we're playing now. Just a very, very bare bones, watered down variation of what they are planning to do. This is going to be much, much more in depth as we progress through cycles, as we get closer to the launch date. And seeing some of their plans now, I honestly don't know if 2026 is going to be a viable launch date for this game. And this is where they drop this on us now. Now, FTL tech progression, right? Basically, travel, right? How you getting around through space. This is all part of that escape. So they have different variations. Now, some of these you may be familiar with through playing the game. Some of them are from EVE Online, all right? So let's start off with the acceleration game. Now, we've seen this in EVE Online, right? To PvE sites, you different levels, right? Even in, I think there is some, even in EVE Echoes, it's basically a very, fundamental, mechanic in the game. All right, next we have our warp drive, right? This is an autonomous in-system warp and travel, right? We're warping between points in the system. So maybe we have to actually build a warp drive. Now there's something new. This is called a jump tunnel. It's a version of intersystem that is worse than Stargates and a jump drive both. A disposable Stargate. A very, very nerfed jump drive variation. Basically, they're still working on this, right? But again, it's autonomous interstellar travel, single use. So maybe a one-time pop over. No, now we have Stargates, right? Now we know what these are. We're using them in game now. We're building them. And then, of course, and the jump drive, which we are all using, which is currently the first thing you learn about when you build the reflex, right? You jump out of that system into a neighboring system, and that's how you start exploring. And that's when we move into some of the really cool things, which is clone, right? You're a persistent clone. Once you're out, and you can now work on yourself as a whole. Now, this brought about some actually kind of weird revelations about the whole thing. And this is where we learned that we will be able to modify the existing clones. Now, some of this looks kind of freaky, to be completely honest with you. And yeah, someone made the joke that we are being 3D printed by the Keep. And this is the freakiness, right? And we've talked before about modifications. Well, if you see here, this is a completely different one, right? It's a different kind of skull palette, right? 2 spines, it looks like. Let's play this here. So my thought process is these orbs are modifying our clones. So, and they did say, not so much about the orbs, but that you will need to modify your clone to do certain things in the game. Certain ships, well, you're going to need a certain type of clone to better fly a combat ship, like an exo-type ship. Some of these modifications will act as a access key to access different spots. And they said that all culminates in basically a character creation menu where you can modify your clone and basically make it your own, right? By doing different things. Now, this isn't in the game. We don't know when this is going to be released, but this is the ultimate plan where you will be able to modify and do a character creation via your clone. I said after that, we're going to find lost cities, and they're going to be scattered throughout the universe, right? To seek wonders. Now, these places are where we're going to find a lot of those stacks or orbs or other different things in the game itself. They also went on that, let's see here. Where do I have it? Actually, we're going to go into tribes when we talk about that. But yeah, these are going to be like different things in space where you can find out and learn different things about the game. Then it's tribes, right? Meet others. And they're going to have a big plan on what, because currently right now it's just a place to talk, help each other out and stuff like that. There's no viable real thing you do with tribes except band together and, do things. Well, it'll be more in depth in the game itself. And in fact, they said, I took a specific note now, because some players want to do the solo experience. And if you played any EVE game, the power's in numbers, right? If you're with a big group, you can do a lot more things. Now, they did say here, just because you don't want to join a tribe doesn't mean you're not going to meet others. They said banding together is with tribes to make economies. However, solo players can still be involved by world events. That's right. They're going to have random world events happening as well, such as, feral swarms coming through the area. And now you're going to have to team up with everyone in that area to combat it back. NPC mining operations, right? Or they use an example of a large feral drone. Think of like an overworld boss, right? In like Diablo 4 or World of Warcraft, right? You have those global bosses. Same thing. Say a large feral is blocking a gate to a new section or a shortcut through the universe, right? Maybe this one gate can take you, super far than anything else. Well, you have to kill this drone now to be able to access that. Now you can band together with everyone around to do so. All right, next we come to artifacts, and it says here seek power, right? This is going to be like different ships, new ship types, stacks, those orbs, where you can basically build yourself up and build your tribe up. Like maybe super stacks. These are the ones that they were talking about where it's a tribe-based thing, and you have to maintain it so you can gain power that way. They didn't really go too in depth in it, give too many examples, but I also had the little ones running around like crazy, so I was in and out, so I may have missed a thing or two. And lastly, we have Awakening, right? Now we have here Awakening Protocol, participate in Awakening and earn seeds. I don't know if that's anything like Grace. I have no idea. Let's zoom in here. Promised Lands, the Frontier experienced the recent Jubilee class event. Much is lost. Mercy reboot is going on. I guess it's an event that's happening. Oh, look, and we can zoom in on the maps and we'll see different things going on. In other words, I wonder if this is kind of like in EVE Online where they had oh god, I can't remember what the name it was called. Guys, help me out in the comments below. Basically, like where NPCs would take over certain areas of low sec, stuff like that, and you'd have to beat them back. It was very, very profitable. Then I heard people were soloing them in Thanatoses and such, but it looks like this is going to give you information. Now we're going to get scanning and everything else as well. And then look here is it's keeping the status of everything that's going on currently. So this is kind of giving us, and this person has 43,945 seats. After that, they drop this on us. Now, this is their golden path to the visions, right, of what's going on. And there's a lot of information to break down here. let's start off in the beginning of the game here, the Golden Path. All right, so we have content features. Now, this stuff that they're working on and how they kind of have it planned out. So your kickoff is, your start, awake, so bushcraft survival. So this is where they have emergency tech trees. Let's see here. They also refer to the bushcraft as basically like Valheim, where you're chopping. Let's see, chopping is the low bar they're setting here. But, we're going to get the topological fitting, right? The modular system that we were talked about, where you can add different things to your ship. Damage system, the 3 Cs, focus mode and other modes, iterations. Heat iteration and content. Drama manager, which is feral pressure. Inventory. These are all things that they're building in this. Like I said, we have the bare bones. They're going to bring in weather into so I guess space storms, right? Like solar flares, that sort of thing. These are the refuge variants. So you're going to have different variants of refuge, I guess, for the different areas. We might have even space radiation we have to contend with. Who knows? Let's see. Seek persistence. Save. To preserve progression and break out of survival loop, the player needs to establish the capacity to upload, usually by constructing a tomb, a specialized network node. Okay, so we're going to get new network nodes, I guess, to upload. I'm not sure if they're going to still plan on doing it via keeps or not, but like I said, we got the very watered down system. Crafting experience, immersion, iteration, including characters, so that's going to be in the shipbuilding. This is everything they're planning out, right? They're going to have landmarks that you'll be able to see via the skybox. So as you're getting closer to something in the system, you'll be able to see where it is in the skybox and maybe plot your way there to get there. We have the FTL tech progression. We talked about it, right? Acceleration gates all the way up to jump drives. Home ruins. These are the star map landmarks, right? These are pre-engagement core signature and scanning. So we're going to be getting those scanning and signature. Also, skill shots. So we're going to be getting the introduction of skills and modifications. And that's going to tap into the clone, right? Character creation, right? Character representation window, clone loop. Then you get world missions. We're going to get hangars 2.0, NPC stations, flavor industry, core sites, destroyed tile set. Like these are all things that are put in here. And then you have we have all this stuff here. And we're going to get asymmetric tech trees, feral ecosystems, bosses. And it's going to be, at that point, it's the end game loop, right? Where it is, crude industry into cycle features, basically moving from one cycle to the next cycle, keeping up with the meta, content, that sort of thing. So this is everything that we learned from the Vision podcast today, the stream today. So it is bright, right? And they have a lot of this stuff blacked out down here. So we kind of look in to see like specialized ships and different things. But, for some reason it's blacked out here. But this is what we get to look forward to. So I think the game has a bright future. They didn't tell us what's going to be coming in the next cycle. But also, guys, until tomorrow, there is a spot on the main Discord. When we pull it up here. If you're a founder and there are founder announcements, here's the link right here, right? You're going to follow this link and you'll be able to submit questions because they're going to be doing another stream tomorrow morning answering any questions that you have that you brought up from the Vision stream that was today. Now, I already submitted about 5 questions. And of course, I'm going to cover that, hour-long plus video that I can put out tomorrow in the short condense. I know we're already past the 20-minute mark, but hey, you're still getting an hour and a half worth of information within 20 minutes. So I guess we made pretty good time. So until I talk to you guys again, basically, I hope you guys found this interesting. I hope you guys found this informative, everything like that. But until I talk to you guys again, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Fly safe. Remember, here on this channel, we are always one vision, one purpose, one front. I'll see you guys in the next video.